Welcome back to another video. It is Monday. It is 7:30. So I am now going into my first full block back self-coaching. So I've just done a little 3-week intro block back to being self-coached off the back of Bench Worlds. And that went really well. And it gave me a lot of reassurance of kind of the areas I thought I needed to target and pinpoint. Definitely noticing a benefit from doing some smaller movements to target those. But also that means I've had 3 weeks of pain-free squatting, deadlifting, no hamstring issues, no flare-ups. My lower back has been pretty much playing ball. Now, that doesn't mean these injuries are fully behind me. I know for a fact that if I suddenly started hammering heavy RDLs or anything like that, or went crazy high on volume, my hamstring issue would absolutely become a recurring thing again. But also I know that my lower back is still not 100%. It's definitely still feeling a little bit temperamental. So something I still need to kind of be aware of, but that's nothing I haven't worked through before. And I'm in a really good position to start this first kind of official block self-coaching where we can get some really good productive work in and slowly start pushing the load again. So the 3-week block I've just done was all relatively light. I didn't feel very strong throughout it. So even though a lot of the numbers that I hit were light, they didn't feel as easy as those numbers usually do for me, but that's nothing to get bogged down about or stress over because that was kind of the point. It was just an intro block back. It wasn't supposed to be a lot. And also I really had the realization over the last few days that training just has not been, as much as I still train, I do everything on the program, I hit everything I need to. Training hasn't been my priority for a while now, and I think that's part of the reason my strength hasn't been progressing how I want it to. As much as I do lock in, I do my best throughout my training sessions and things, I just don't feel like athlete Sean is my priority lately, which is fine because at the end of the day, Coach Sean has been my priority and that's not a problem. But now it's about finding that balance between the two, which absolutely I know I can do. IPF Worlds last week, I did daily podcasts throughout the whole thing. Last week was horrendously busy and there was just no time for me to really look after myself. So my recovery is also down from that. Not made any easier by the fact that I am away this weekend at the Junior All England Championships, which is the first comp that I have ever sponsored. The Art of Lifting is sponsoring that comp. So I wanted to make sure I was there all weekend. I also have a lifter competing on the Saturday morning. So I am traveling Friday night, spending the whole weekend in Lincoln for that, which means to make my weekend a little bit easier, I am planning on training Monday to Friday this week, which by the time I get to Friday, if successful in that mission, I would have trained 8 days in a row, which when my recovery is already a little bit down, is not ideal. But what I will be doing this week, so today was manic. That's why I'm only training at 7:30. Today was a manic work day, but actually after today, my days are quite a bit calmer. Still fairly chock-a-block full, but like not like an unmanageable amount and a little bit more flexibility in there. So that is really good for me. And I've blocked out my training this week. It's like I literally did it earlier. I've blocked out my training and exactly when I'm going to train, and I'm going to do that going forwards again. I used to do it with my calendar, but I'm definitely going to start doing that again so that I can make sure I prioritize my training again as well, because like I keep booking in like podcasts and calls at times that are really inconvenient for my training when actually I can easily book them in at slightly different times and it will be absolutely fine. So I'm definitely going to start doing that a little bit more as well. So Athlete Sean is back. Obviously, I had this actual conversation with a client earlier as well, who is also a coach. Sometimes we have to shift our focuses. Sometimes our priorities shift. And for me at the moment, my priority is building the life that I want for myself, which I'm doing. I'm living that life, right? And coaching is the dream career. I'm doing it. I'm making my living through it. And in order to get to this point and establish myself as much as possible, that has required me taking a backseat in other areas, such as, my recovery a little bit has taken a hit just from really busy days. Like, I think the daily podcasts last week are a really good example, because I think a lot of people are like, oh, you're an online coach, easy, you shouldn't be struggling with recovery. But it's not enough for me to just be a coach that's, just cruising by. Like, I want to be established and I want to be busy enough that I have a lot of stability within my job as well. And like, I can afford the life I want to live, which means I need to be busy. And I love being busy. Like, I am absolutely a workaholic. So for example, the podcast last week, doing daily podcasts, I didn't do it for a business reason. I did it because I thought it would be a fun thing to do, and it absolutely was. But I didn't expect the engagement that I got. And although my following hasn't massively grown or anything, the engagement has. Like the growth, I can't remember the exact stat, but I looked earlier on my insights from the podcast, and the listeners I had last week like way better performing than anything I've ever had before. And those viewers are now engaging more with the podcast and going to be listening to future podcasts. And that is all like coming back to coach me being more successful, because it all links in with each other. And I actually had a conversation. The reason I want to talk about this in a video is because I had a conversation earlier and we were kind of talking about the fact of like, self-care is incredibly important. Prioritizing recovery and looking after yourself, whether you're an athlete or not, is incredibly important. But when you have ambitious goals, when you have like work-related goals, when you have things you want to achieve, sometimes you have to put those things on the back burner and just go all in and just put your recovery on the background for like the back burner for a bit. Focus entirely on what you need to do, fixate on what you want to achieve, because that's kind of the only way you're going to get there. Like especially at the minute, like I'm in my 20s, this is the time for me to be working myself like to the bone, because this is the only time I'm going to be able to actually do it and recover from it. And my life is allowing me to do it. And I think in this era of like really making sure we take care of ourselves, which is obviously important, right? We also need to sometimes accept that if we want to do great things, we have to push through some crap things too. And that includes like last week, my nutrition and my sleep and everything was just non-existent. Like it wasn't a good week for me and it definitely impacted me and like athlete me, like my training at the weekend was not good, but it's fine because it had way more positives than negatives. And actually today was super busy. The rest of this week is reasonably busy, but nothing crazy or completely out of the ordinary really. Today I really jam-packed my schedule because I thought then I could kind of, because I'm away this weekend, the rest of the week, like the non-customer facing or like the non-client facing stuff, like programming and stuff, getting ahead on that before I then go away on Friday. I can kind of do that when I feel up to it, / I can train before I do it. I can do that later in the evening if I've got energy then, like have a bit more flexibility with my week after today. So I'm feeling good. That was a long ramble, but I just wanted to kind of give some context to how things have been going and to basically say that I've definitely not been prioritizing athlete me. But the last 3 weeks, that kind of wasn't the goal anyway. The goal was just to kind of get past a little bit of burnout and just get used to coaching myself again. And the new training block looks fun and I'm really excited by it. In the next video, I will talk through my decision with deadlifts, which I've written it up now, so I'm not changing my mind now. But the decision for deadlifts, I did go backwards and forwards on a few things, but Wednesday's video will explain my decision-making on deadlifts. But for today's session, I actually haven't changed anything. I really enjoyed this last block. So I have got comp squat top set of 6 today. And then I've got a heavier set of high bar squats. When I say heavier, it's still incredibly light. A heavier set of 7 on high bar squats. And then I've got 2 10 kilo lighter sets of 7 as well on high bar squat. And the reason for that is just to really reinforce good movement pattern on those lighter sets. That will then continue to trickle up my baseline and carry over into my obviously heavier work as well. Then I've got 3 count bench press. So a top triple into a single 5 kilos heavier, literally what I was doing when I was working with Lewis. I found this structure worked really well for me. Part of me does kind of miss doing the heavy Larson press that I did for a while, and he said to me that he thinks that's something I should keep in. Now, I'm going to see how this next block goes, which this block is a 6-week block. So it's a 3-week block, and then we pull back and do another 3-week block. It's 2 3-week blocks bunched together, basically, where the week 6 is the heaviest and week 3 is the second heaviest. So we kind of ramp up, pull back, ramp up. And that worked really well for me previously in training. So I'm going back to that structure. So yeah, basically that's what I'm thinking. And I'm going to give myself this 6 weeks to trial this. And then what I might do, if I'm feeling like bench is still missing something, I might then go back to heavy Larson press after that, but we'll kind of see. Speaking of Larson press, after my single, I have got a top set of 6 Larson press, an RP of 5 today. And then I've got 2x6, a set load of 80 after. So again, same thing with the high bar squats. Those lighter rep work sets are just there to kind of push the needle forward, get really good quality work in, reinforce good movement patterns without having to push loads of load. Then we have got my kind of friend, kind of arch nemesis Hatfield squats that I've been doing. So I've just been doing 2 kind of light sets recently. The program now calls for 3 sets of 8, and I really want to start kind of pushing the load on these. Now, not sure how my back's going to be feeling, especially, I've still got DOMs in my legs from Saturday's squat session. Obviously, I've missed a rest day, so I didn't have a rest day today like I normally would. So I'm probably not going to feel too fresh for these, so I'm not going to worry too much about pushing them loads today. But I would like to just start kind of pushing them a little bit more as this block goes on, because I think last week I managed to get up to 107.5 for my heaviest set of 8, and that was fine. And I've been adding like 20 kilos a week. And these are something that I should be able to get to like 150 plus on as a minimum. Now I am doing them sleeveless, so we will see. And then after that today, I've literally just got some upper body dumbbell work, just like front raises, bicep curls, skull crushers, like bro out, get some arm work in. One thing I'm really focusing on at the moment is bigger arms, bigger arms, bigger arms, bigger arms. I need bigger arms for a bigger bench. I have the brute force and I have a lot of muscle mass in my upper body, but I do think my arms have always been an area that are a little bit underdeveloped. So that is a big focus point as well. Plus it's fun. Who doesn't want big arms? And then I think I will break this down more in the next video, but one of the other things I'm really focusing on now that I think / hope I'm healthy enough is like posterior chain, hamstrings, glutes, bringing those up, because there's no doubt in my mind that they are a weak point for me, and they literally always have been. But when I've tried to push them in the past, certain injuries, niggles, pains have kind of crept in. So this time I am determined to find a way to keep working these areas without causing any issues. So we shall see. But I'll break down the rest of the training week as the week goes on in my next videos. Today I'll just show you obviously today's lifts. But today is super light because it's just week 1 of this block anyway.
I see 한여름에도 난 겨울 Yeah, 너와 있을 때 I swear 제가 먼저 zero 폭설한 그 childer 꿈에도 I wasn't aware 나만 빼고 넌 모두에게 참 친절해 내 신감이 들어 단판이 태도 머릿속을 흔드는 ibuprofen 그만해 it's time to stop 승부욕을 자극하는 style Yeah 알면서도 마음이 자꾸 내게 가 안만 빠져버릴까 If you want me back I'll tell you I'm sorry If you want me back I'll tell you stop trying Yeah, yeah, you got me Let it go 얼어붙어 like whoa 띵하고 어지러워 I see 한여름에도 넌 겨울 Yeah, girl, you cold-blooded Yeah, girl, you cold-blooded Yeah, yeah, yeah Girl, you cold-blooded Girl, you cold-blooded I'm like frozen 뭐야 모두 stress은 gotta let it go 했어 소개팅 데이팅 어플 다 깔아 또 보았어 반대가 끌린대 opposites attract Don't know about me and you yeah we fell into the cracks Yeah 갖고 너네 no cap 왜 나는 보여 what's happening 객관적일 수가 없이 이미 game white flag and wave it fast Yeah I'm leaving back but 말해도 너만 보면 나도 내 맘 I don't know 이건 love a relationship 헷갈리기만 해 girl I'll tell you I'm sorry if you want me back I'll tell you stop trying Yeah, yeah, you got me Let it go 얼어붙어 like whoa 띵하고 어지러워 I see 한여름에도 넌 겨울 Girl, you cold-blooded Let it go 얼어붙어 like whoa 띵하고 어지러워 I see 한여름에도 넌 겨울 Girl, you cold-blooded Yeah, girl, you cold-blooded Yeah, yeah, yeah Girl, you cold-blooded Girl, you cold-blooded Yeah, girl, you cold-blooded Yeah, yeah, yeah Girl, you cold-blooded Girl, you cold
Okay, excuse the state of me. Session done. Now, I was looking forward to training tonight, but because of how late I started, I was like, I need to just crack on. I need to just get this done. So I've got a couple more little bits of work to do. I need to take him for a nice long walk as well. So I want to just kind of get done in good time. So what I did was I set a timer. Let me just clear my notifications. I set myself a timer, essentially not aiming to beat a certain time, but this session I would say would usually probably take me between an hour and a half and 2 hours, depending on how kind of quickly I kind of got it done, how much I focused. Also, if you can hear him licking my arm, then ignore that. So essentially, if I set a timer, I know I'm not going to procrastinate. I know I'm not going to rest for as long. It's week 1. It's light. I don't need to rest for long. And I got this session done in an hour and 5 minutes, which part of that includes chasing him around the garden with the oven gloves that he decided to pull off the worktop. So they are now in the washing machine. So yeah, no, I'm actually pretty happy with that. I think that's pretty good timing. And I think having that timer in the background, knowing that I'm like against the clock, just allows me to kind of crack on a little bit quicker. I also felt like athlete Sean again tonight, which was really nice. And that's something I need to keep reminding myself of. It was interesting doing my bench today because I did do my primary bench yesterday and that didn't really go to plan. I then had upper accessories that I pushed really hard. So although I didn't really feel muscle soreness going in, there was obviously fatigue in that area and then like within my whole upper body, to be fair. And I noticed when I was doing my bench press, the heaviest Larson press set that I did, that I had a little bit of a twinge kind of pain in my left pec. It was fine. I think maybe slight dehydration as well, just because it's really hot here, like we're now going into another heat wave. Maybe partly that. I just kind of made sure to kind of focus on hydrating and stuff and just kind of ignored it. And it was fine for my lighter sets anyway, so I'm not too concerned about that. But yeah, that was one thing I did note. And I think considering the fatigue and stuff is there from yesterday's upper body session, that wasn't bad at all. Like, I'm pretty happy with how that went. He also need to... Kisses are his favourite thing, if you can't tell. Granted, I'm also sweaty, which doesn't help. But yeah, no, I'm really happy with how that session went. Hatfield probably took me the longest just because I didn't want to do it. I actually didn't go very heavy either. The first set I did with, so the bar is like 27.5 kilos, so technically it's like 107.5, but I'll just call it 100 for ease. So when I did the first set of 100, it felt really hard, and I was like, how am I going to do 3 sets of this? Because when I wrote 3 by 8, I didn't intend to do 3 sets of 8 at the same load. The goal was going to be basically just like 3 ascending sets of 8 with that last set being really hard and really heavy, because I know that that's how to get the most productive work out of me. But I did the first set of 100 and I was like, this is difficult. I don't want to do anymore. Like, this is hard. The second and third set felt far easier. I probably should have gone up for the third set when the second set did feel that much easier. But I just decided to stick with it. Like, it's week 1. It's fine. I don't need to kill myself off. I'm also training potentially 8 days in a row this week / end of last week. He's ready for war. So I just decided, leave it at 100. It's fine. You can build from there. And I think that matches the heaviest I've done on those so far as well. So I'm not mad at that. It was all fine. Don't think there's any other real notes. There's some upper body dumbbell stuff after, which was fun, you know, standard stuff, which a lot of it I actually did yesterday as well. So doing that 2 days in a row as well, not overly fun. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here before Zuko eats me. Whee. Thank you very much if you've made it to the end. I really appreciate it. Please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in a few days for the next one, where I'll break down more of my kind of new training block and new structure. Hey.
Girl, you cold-blooded.